Today, we're diving into a topic that is shaking up the Middle East, the collapse of the Assad regime, Iran's crumbling hold on the region, and why Israel might need to act now. Well, in recent months, the landscape has shifted dramatically, leaving Iran more vulnerable than it has been in years. For Israel, this isn't just a moment to observe, it's a moment to seize. We'll break down what the fall of Assad means and how Iran's proxies are unraveling, and why this could set the stage for the incoming Trump administration. This isn't just politics, it's about Israel's survival and the security of the entire region. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, the Middle East is at a turning point, and Israel has a rare opportunity to take a decisive action that could change the balance of power in the region. Israel now has a rare chance to take a strong action against Iran. With Iran's allies weakened and its power in the region shrinking, Israel could target important sites inside of Iran. This kind of movement would weaken Iran's ability to cause trouble, shake up its government, and reduce its control in the entire region. This is also a key moment for the U.S. A decisive step by Israel would support the incoming Trump administration's tough stance on Iran and help build momentum for a stronger strategy against the regime. Acting now would not only protect Israel's security, but it also gives the U.S. a better position to push back against Iran's growing influence. Now, for Israel's role in this U.S. strategy, Israel's actions right now could be a game changer for how the U.S. deals with Iran and its allies. By showing its military strength, Israel could send a strong message, not just to Iran, but also to the powerful countries like China, Russia, North Korea, which are all part of the new Eurasian axis. This show of force would give the U.S. an advantage in tackling the bigger challenges posed by this alliance and support strengthening America's position on the global stage. Israel's move wouldn't just be about the military success. It could also influence how the U.S. plans its strategy against Iran. The old ways of using coalitions and applying pressure might not just be enough anymore, especially with Iran building closer ties to major powers. Bold action from Israel could inspire the U.S. to rethink its approach, leading to smarter, more effective ways to reduce Iran's influence and bring stability to the region. Meanwhile, the collapse of Assad's government in Syria has added a new layer to the shifting dynamics in the Middle East. Assad's regime, once supported by Iran and Russia, unexpectedly fell apart. With Iran weakened by its conflict with Israel, and Russia stretched thin by its war in Ukraine, neither country has been able to step in and save them. This has left Syria in chaos, disrupted Iran's ability to use the country as a key base for its regional power. Now, for Israel, this change presents a major opportunity. Without Syria's backing, Iran's ability to support Hezbollah and extend its influence across the region is greatly reduced. This shift not only weakens Iran's presence, but also creates a more favorable environment for Israel to act against remaining threats. The fall of the Assad regime signals that Iran's influence in the Middle East is shrinking, giving Israel and its allies a critical chance to reshape the balance of power in the entire region. Hey guys, we'll be right back. But first, you probably already know that the Israel Guys represents much more than 18 million people reached through hundreds of videos in 2024 alone. HaYovel is our nonprofit organization that encompasses amazing projects in the land of Israel, from Greening Israel to Operation Itai, and of course, all of us here at the Israel Guys. We are honored to be a part of restoring God's kingdom in Israel right here in the biblical heartland. More important than what God has allowed us to be a part of in 2024, we are even more excited for what God has in store for 2025. Tens of millions of people need to hear the truth about Israel, breaking through the fog of fake news and propaganda. This year alone, we reached over 18 million people. What if we can reach 30 or even 50 million in 2025? Right now, we are nearing the completion of our end of the year fundraising campaign. Thanks to the generosity of matching donors, every dollar you give to the Israel Guys will be doubled for twice the impact. Please help us reach our goal by December 31st. We are very quickly running out of time to finish this campaign. Please click the link in the description below to support our work. Okay, guys, now to Russia, who has major limitations. Russia's involvement in Ukraine has stretched its resources thin, making it hard for the country to continue supporting Assad in Syria. With most of Russia's military and financial focus on the war in Ukraine, it hasn't been able to provide the necessary aid to keep Assad's regime intact. On top of that, Turkish restrictions on naval transit and Ukrainian drone attacks have further limited Russia's ability to operate effectively in Syria. These changes have left Russia unable to maintain the same level of support for Assad, weakening his position and contributing to the collapse of his government. As Russia's influence in Syria declines, it creates an opportunity for Israel and other regional players to act and reshape the power dynamics right here in the Middle East. Okay, now what about Iran and its weakening position here in the Middle East? With Iran suffering significant losses, especially in its conflict with Israel, and its power in the Middle East really has faded, groups supported by Iran like Hezbollah and the IRGC are much, much weaker now. Iran's ability to carry out military operations has been limited. This change is happening at a key moment as Assad's government in Syria has fallen and Iran's hold in the region is loosening. Syria was once a strong base for Iran, but now it's in total chaos. For Israel, this is a rare chance to take action. While Iran, at its weakest, with Iran's allies in Syria weakened, Israel has fewer obstacles in confronting threats in Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq. This moment of weakness could allow Israel to target key places inside Iran and make a massive impact. Iran is struggling, and Israel has a chance to act now before things change again. So, what does this mean for Israel? I believe this is a chance Israel cannot afford to miss. With Assad gone and Iran's influence in Syria slipping away, the situation in the region has changed a lot. For the first time in a long time, Israel faces fewer immediate threats from Iran's allies in Syria. Israel can now strike against critical targets in Iran, like its nuclear facilities, and weaken Iran further. But this is more than just military action. Israel's move now could have big political effects. By acting boldly, Israel could push the U.S. to take stronger action against Iran. The new Trump administration might see this as a perfect chance to ramp up pressure on Iran, which could lead to better ways of dealing with Iran and making the region more stable. Now, the big question is whether Israel will indeed act. A well-planned strike on Iran's key assets could send a strong message to Iran and its allies. If Israel targets critical places, like nuclear facilities, it could weaken the Iranian government even more and possibly lead to unrest or even a change in the leadership in Iran. Such an attack would also show the world that Iran is not invincible and that Israel is serious about defending itself. With the Trump administration coming in, Israel's actions could help guide U.S. policy and encourage stronger steps against Iran. However, there are challenges ahead. The Trump administration will need to rethink how it deals with Iran, especially since the old ways of applying pressure might not be enough anymore. Iran has been building stronger relationships with Russia and China, which makes really things much more complicated. The U.S. will need to find new ways to deal with this bigger alliance. Israel's actions could push the U.S. to come up with better strategies to deal with Iran. If Israel takes strong, smart steps, it could give the U.S. leverage it needs to make more effective action against Iran and its allies. But not everyone is on board with this. The Biden administration, of course, which is about to leave office, has focused on diplomacy and talks with Iran, especially around the nuclear deal. They might not like Israel taking military action against Iran. But with the Trump administration coming in, things could change. The Trump team is known for being tough on Iran. And if Israel acts now, it could push the U.S. to join in on a stronger approach to counter Iran's influence. Okay, as we wrap up today's show, here's what we know. The Middle East is in a critical turning point. The collapse of Assad regime, Iran's weakening grip, Russia's reduced influence have all created a window of opportunity for Israel to act decisively. Striking now could not only disrupt Iran's regional ambitions, but also set the stage for the incoming Trump administration to redefine U.S. pressure on Iran. Israel's potential actions could send shockwaves through the region, reshaping alliances, undermining Iran's proxies, and ensuring a more secure future for the Jewish state. Waiting until January could risk losing this unique advantage, but acting now shows strength, foresight, and the commitment to protect Israel's survival. This isn't just a moment in history, guys. It's a moment of strategy, of strength, and of survival for Israel. This is of utmost importance to this nation of Israel. Survival. Guys, as we're closed out, don't forget to check out our end of the year fundraiser. And as always, stop listening to the fake news, the lies and propaganda, and connect to the truth of what's actually happening here in the land of Israel. We'll be back soon here at the Israel Guys.